Hey guys, welcome back to my show. Once again, I have a really special guest with me today. Some of you may know him from The Voice, and some of you may know him from his songs. We have Corey Curtis with us on the show today. Hi, Corey. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I love what you're doing with your show here.
Thank you so much. So please introduce yourself by maybe saying a few lines of your latest song.
Okay. So this is my most recent release called Her Car. And it goes like And I can't forget the Halloweens, all the little bitty memories. Every front porch kiss goodbye, the way she looked me in the eyes. And I can't forget the movie nights, some chick flick we've seen twice. Every late night text goodnight, the way she said goodbye, she's too far. Now I'm alone, still here in her car. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. I love that. I mean, it's giving almost like Shawn Mendes times like Justin Bieber vibes, honestly.
Oh, no way. You put me in the same category as those guys? That means a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean like the tone and the ways you kind of like it's honestly like the lyrics really like that got me like they're really interesting how kind of just put your whole story into the song.
What I'm really going for, yeah, with my songs is just more of a storytelling aspect. I mean, I want to keep it simple so that um and people can interpret the lyrics in their own way, but that I convey my message in a way that they understand it, I guess. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did like music even find its way into your life? Like what really brought you to this place?
Oh man, it's a question with many answers. So I mean, essentially, I was this bored kid who like picked up on a lot of hobbies. If anybody saw my story on The Voice, it was one of the things that I talked about, that I learned how to do all this stuff, like taught myself how to do a backflip, solve a Rubik's Cube in like 30 seconds, and uh, did magic there for a little while, and just memorized a lot of stuff. And music just so happened to be one of those. I kind of realized I could sing. Um, Started playing drums at 10 years old, and then guitar at 11, piano at 12. And then when I was about 16, I wrote my first song, and I showed my mom, and she cried. And she was like, "I think you might be a songwriter. I think this is what you were meant to do." And then the way I made her feel in my bedroom that day when I showed her that first song is the way I want to make other people feel. And that's when music went from a hobby to a passion of mine. So
That's great, honestly, right? Music is just so like fulfilling. I am a singer-songwriter
beautiful.
too, and it's
Mm.
just so like you feel so happy making music. That's when you know, like, okay, this is the thing I want to do. For me, I'm 16 right now, and I started writing a year ago, so 15. And ever since I started writing, like, it just is all about storytelling and like making people feel the way you want them to feel, and just like a whole body experience.
Absolutely. It's You make a good point there, and like when it comes to reaching the crowd, like that's a good point. And then for even the singer-songwriter themselves, I mean, just writing music is insanely therapeutic, and just it's like a place you can go to when you feel like maybe people aren't there for you, and sometimes music is all you got. So it's crazy.
Absolutely. So, with your latest single, like, what was like your main goal that you were trying to accomplish?
With like the like what it's about, or like
Yeah, kind
one
of like, what was like the story behind it? Like, what really made you wanna write this story?
Oh, okay, yeah. So the song was called Her Car, and essentially it's about, I dated this girl for 2 years, and then we broke up pretty abruptly. She broke up with me, and she was my first love, and my first like actual real girlfriend. And so like afterwards, I felt like I just couldn't escape like her ghost. And one of those forms her ghost took on was her car that she used to drive. And I kept hearing that loud engine like coming up my driveway, driving down my road. I have a lyric in one of my songs saying, "I still hear your car on down this hollow road," and it's because I used to live on a road called Long Hollow Road, and so it's in reference to that and the fact that I just felt so hollow at the time. But yeah, it's just about not being able to forget her and hearing that engine. It was so loud. Like I would find myself running outside, you know, borderline tears because I thought I heard her coming up the driveway. So it's kind of crazy.
That's honestly a very interesting like message, honestly, because with this century, honestly, I feel like we have developed so much in the music industry. We have not only had songs like Per Car, but we also have had songs about just love in general. We have friendship, family, connections, all of the things. And I think that um the music industry is just doing really well right now, especially like with you know, we have so many new artists like Chappell Rowan, we have Olivia Rodrigo who's been here for a while, but
Hmm.
we have like so many great artists, and like having you in the mix just makes it even more like amplification, because with like new artists, right, we do not often appreciate them. It's like, oh, they're new, we're not going to listen to them, we're going to listen to Taylor Swift, or we're going to listen to Olivia, we're going to listen to Leve or whoever. But
Hmm.
new artists just kind of bring this new like light to the genre.
Yeah, and it kind of it's unfortunate sometimes because I mean, as vibrant and like big as the music industry is getting, that's the other problem for the aspiring artists on the smaller end trying to make it because it's a tough competition out there. But I like to think I bring something a little unique to the table. But yeah, I think just gotta keep going. Putting in my 10,000 hours and staying consistent. I got 3 more new songs coming out after her car, um, and they're all gonna be on a 4-song EP. So we're trying to make it
That's
happen.
that's awesome. So, how did you find yourself navigating these like rough waters? Like, I know like you've just started, so how did you find yourself like moving about this like super competitive industry, as you mentioned earlier?
Um, I think, like I said before, just maybe trying to stick out. Maybe do something different. Don't be a trend follower like what all the other musicians do. Try something new, and maybe your way of doing it might blow up. And um, just stay at it. Just stay consistent. Because doors are going to open in your life, and then doors are going to shut. And I've had that happen too many times. I get these emails, this and that. Doors open, doors will shut, and then I find myself in a low spot in life, and then I'll get another opportunity that comes up, and then maybe that one goes away too. So it's really just all in the timing, waiting on my big break. So
Honestly, what you said really stuck out to me. I think what you said about opportunities closing and opening, it's a matter of timing, as you said, but also it's like, putting in the effort regardless of what happens, regardless of whether you're accepted for a record label or like accepted for a small competition somewhere. I think just putting in that time and effort is like the key to success at this point.
yes, absolutely, because I mean the hard work pays off. As old as that saying is, it's so true. So I
For
said
sure.
earlier, like putting in your 10,000 hours that's what I hear people say when it comes to a passion or a craft that you have. So
Like, again, like just putting in that, the time and effort part is like often the hard part. Like the recognition you get and the fame you get after is like the after product. Like the time and effort is the part where most people struggle, including me, because there are only 24 hours in the day, and out of which most of it is either spent thinking about the fame and success it goes after, rather than putting the effort into making the song or making the work you're doing.
yeah, it's it really is a mental thing as well, and you're goes back to what you said, trying to navigate these rough waters in the industry, and so half the time I'm up at 2 a.m. and I'm writing these songs, because I mean in one of my songs I say, uh, I write my best tunes after hours. I sing my lyrics when I'm in the shower, and so like it's just it's got to be a consistent thing, you know. And so I'm on the piano, I'm on the ukulele, I'm on the guitar, and I'm always thinking of new ways I can write about something that resonates with me, but also resonates with somebody else out there.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, at the end of the day, right, we're writing music for ourselves. If someone else ends up liking it, that's a bonus. But like as an artist, we're often like we have to think about ourselves too, because I know there's a lot of times where people are just writing songs like when they become big, right? They're just thinking about like what their fans will like, because if they start making songs that they do not like, they're gonna lose people. But I think it's very
Mhm.
important to just retain that authenticity, retain true to your roots, and like do what you like.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that point up because it's kind of unfortunate that I had this opportunity to get passed up one time with a I can't remember. It was some showcase where I would have went and sang these songs with other songwriters in front of like label people, but I got told that my songs were too personal about me, and I was like, man, it's kind of crazy how like songs can, you know, like once, because you said, I mean, once you start writing, trying to write for other people, I mean, you kind of, I feel like you might lose like the love in it, you know, the love of wanting to do it. And that's how those people in the up in the industry these days or in the labels want you to do. It's like, oh, I've heard this 1,000 times. It's, you know, it's too personal. You need to write something more catchy, more this and that. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So, but yeah, it gets like that sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely like with record labels, they're trying to sell you, right? You're a product to them. And as
Yeah.
crazy as that sounds, that's just the reality of it. And I think, I'm not sure, you might be familiar with this artist, but the artist who made Golden Hour, Jake, I think that's his name.
Jake,
Um,
yeah, of course.
yeah, he made Golden Hour. He made this new song called Me More or something like that. And he is, as far as I'm aware of, he is not part of a record label, and he's doing awesome. Like he's booking gigs, he's making the music he loves. He's collabing with big artists like I think Alan Walker was one of them. Sure, I might be
Oh,
getting the
wow.
name wrong. Yeah,
Yeah, wow. You're right.
yeah. So like I think record labels are honestly like for me personally, I always had this dream of like being signed to a record label, doing shows and gigs. But I think after seeing him, I'm realizing that you can still do shows, gigs, have like great music without a record label because you're not tied down to a contract or tied down to like, oh, you have to make catchy songs, you need to make dance beats, or you need to make pop music.
Yeah, an independent artist that can make it on his own. And I think actually Post Malone, that's how he was too. An independent artist, and he blew up on SoundCloud with his song White Iverson. And it made it easy because at that point you can still find those people that like a manager, you know, a publicist, somebody that books your shows, you know, um, a bus driver. I mean, all that stuff you can find through different connections that you made, like in the industry, and do all that stuff. Like you said, be a solo independent artist without having to be tied down by a label. That could potentially, you know, just not make what you got into music for. You know, like might want to try to change you or something. You know.
I completely agree. My last and final question for you, this is kind of a fun one. If you could collab
Yeah.
with any artist, like dead or alive, who would you collab with?
Oh my gosh. Anybody that knows me that is listening to this right now knows exactly who I'm about to say. And that is definitely 100% Ed Sheeran. All day, that guy's my biggest inspiration. Him or John Mayer, but definitely leaning more towards Ed because if you listen to my other songs that I got coming out or anything, you can definitely tell I base my craft off a lot of his style. I do my own thing. I'm not saying I'm trying to be him, but like my influence from him is heavily there. I find myself singing British sometimes. I don't mean to, but it just kind of comes out. But yeah, definitely Ed Sheeran because he's who I've looked up to for quite some time now, and I just think his music is ageless.
I
So
can completely see that, honestly. Like, now that you mention it, your songs do give off like a little bit of like Ed Sheeran vibes, especially like her car of the few lines that you sang for us. It kind of
mhm.
reminded me of I think it was Supermarket Flowers and a bit of like um I think it was something from his new album. I think it was Autumn Leaves or something like that.
Autumn
But
Leaves, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, it kind of had like a mixture of everything. And now that you mention it, like I feel like it would be something that I would willingly, like if I had to pay for music. I know Spotify is not considered paid unless you have the paid service or whatever, but I would for
Right.
sure like go to a show where like you guys are like singing together. That would be honestly amazing.
Just the thing, put me and him on the same stage together one day, would be just a dream come true. I'd probably cry just because I mean I look up to him so much. But yeah, I love that song you mentioned too. Took the supermarket flowers from the windowsill, AOT from the cup. Yeah, I sang that one. My granny passed away back in 2020, and that song reminded me a lot of her. So
Thank you so much for being on the show. I had a great time chatting with you.
thank you for having me. It's been really fun.
Yeah, everyone listening to this episode right now, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll be linking Corey's website in the show notes. Be sure to check out his music and stay updated for new episodes every week. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening.